Q&A event. My name is Anamari Fanthorpe, and I'll be your host today here for this Digital Boost webinar where we learn it so we can do it and boost it. And we have David Frank here from Spectra Communications. And we're going to be talking about find and communicate your hidden value to win business. So you specialize in copywriting, well, technical copywriting, but also in gathering that feedback so that you can use that information to then tailor the work that you're putting out there so it has value to the business. And we're really looking forward to diving into this topic. So thanks so much again, David, for joining us here on Digital Boost.
Good, thanks, Anamari. Welcome everybody to this session. Find and communicate your hidden value to win business. So I've got a picture here. This is your target audience on the other side of the harbour there, building a bridge across so that they really get your value. Now, the last Q&A we did was on building trust and trustworthiness, how that works together, and that dovetails a lot with value. And this is, really important in times of recession, people to see your true value. If they're willing to part with their money, they need to have that trust. So it can be really exciting, when you discover some of those the hidden gold in your business, those strengths that you may not have thought of, that you may not have seen, and it can make all the difference if you can present that or communicate that, and we're going to be going into that today. So you're just reviewing the trust. We boiled it down to two things: ability and attitude. So the ability is just building a case, convincing people, their minds that you know what you're doing, you're good at what you do, competence. And the other side was attitude, and that's appealing to their emotions to make them want to do business with you. It's the like factor, the know, like, trust, but you could call it all trust. And in terms of value, there are different levels of value that we're going to look at, right from your basic level of your products, the work you do, to your services and who you are, the value you bring as a person or your staff. Okay. How to discover the strongest selling points in your business from your clients and capitalize on this to attract more ideal clients. Okay, first question straight up. Can your target market see the full value you offer? Probably not. And a lot of websites don't really convey that value. Do you appear much the same as other companies in the market? This is a common problem and a real challenge to stand out, be distinctive with differentiators. You see a lot of this on websites. We are, we do, products ABC, features XYZ. And we're going to be looking into a story a bit later with a company that had a website just like that, but by tapping into the extra value and conveying that, it made a huge difference. So the key to fixing poor performance from your website, your brochure, your ads, or social media might be right under your nose. But your clients know. If you can find and communicate this hidden gold in your business, as I said, it could make all the difference to your sales results. The Schlitz beer story. This was a classic legend of value discovery that propelled a company to the top in the 1800s. The company was in trouble, lagging behind at 8th place in the US market. So they employed Claude Hopkins, a famous pioneering copywriter who was a bit outside the square, to write some ads for them. He asked for a tour of the brewery and was amazed at what he discovered. Things that were just everyday routine for the company, for the people, the staff. 4,000-foot deep artesian wells providing the purest water available from the Great Lakes nearby. A mother yeast cell that had come out of 1,200 experiments to yield a robust flavour, and it was very old, very well developed. filtered air in the production rooms to cool the beer without impurities getting in, pumps and pipes cleaned twice daily. This was all very rigorous, and they went to great lengths for not only the taste, but also the health factors. And it took an objective outsider to appreciate all these technicalities. Wow. When he put all this information into his ads, the company leapt from 8th to number 1 in the market in only 6 months. It's pretty impressive. But the really amazing thing is all the other breweries were doing much the same thing. They just weren't communicating it to the market, but were shouting purity, purity without actually proving it. Here's some of the ads that Claude put together. You can see there, one of them, the middle one is entitled Value. And in the fine print there, there's quite a few details. We send experts to Bohemia to select for us the best hops in the world. Cleanliness is not carried out to greater extremes in any kitchen than here. And there's mention over here about biliousness, which is some disease which I hadn't heard of before I read these ads. That was of concern back then. So it really covered the ground. You know your hidden gold. As we say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And your clients see your business quite differently to you. They know where your greatest value is, even if you can't see it yourself. Product features that you think are the most exciting may not be such a big deal to them. On the other hand, the things that keep them coming back to you might be right under your nose. Okay, the hidden gold we're looking for. In very broad terms, it's your company's strengths, the value adds, points of difference that answer client pain points. So it's got to be relevant, connecting what you offer to what they need. Their issues, deeper interests, deeper motivations and values. And bottom line benefits with hard figures if possible. Okay, interviewing clients. Okay, we need to get clients talking freely and openly at a deeper level. But it's not always so easy in practice because they may be shy or just tell you what they think you want to hear. It's got to be more than just a structured Q&A session. An objective outsider can dig deep by effective interviewing and has a freedom, and the client has a freedom that you don't always have as the business owner talking straight to them. So yeah, going to the horse's mouth, the real story. And after a few interviews are done, common patterns will show up of these things that we talked about, the strengths and what they value in your business and the benefits. This all establishes a solid foundation of market intelligence to inform your content writing of your website, your ads, your brochures, and social media. So it's a foundation. And like I was saying before, you might be amazed at the difference it makes to your sales. Okay, the initial email. Address them as a valued client, acknowledging that their story would be valuable for the company's marketing. Just be upfront. You're asking for favour, help. You're obviously a happy client. They're really pleased with what you've done for them. So it's just a good, relationship exchange. So you make it seem easy and simple up front. Just 3 questions. What brought you to a company and why did you go with them? Or why did you trust? The benefits to your business and the qualities that set the company apart in the industry. Okay, getting into the interview. Established a relaxed, chatty rapport with them, just informal. A bit of humour is always good. to say, hey, I'm looking forward to hearing your story. So how did it all start with the company? Just a very natural conversation. Extroverts may tell you a lot without you having to ask many questions, which is great. But on the other hand, you may have to gently steer them back on track if they go off on tangents. Unlike introverts who need a bit more drawing out and probing, it can be a bit more work. What to look for? So I've got a checklist here, and some of them will be more relevant to your business than others. Yeah, so you get them talking, and during the course of that, you can see certain things of interest, and you can dive in a bit and get some of the detail on that. Yeah, as we were saying before, you don't want to be rigid like telemarketers, just filling in boxes, but actually really listening and tuning in. So firstly, the product or the work itself, that basic level of value, which is really what we called the ability side of the trust. Quality of the product or the work done, what aspects were most important to the client. Again, you might be surprised, some of the things that they particularly cared about. Technology that did exceptional things not otherwise possible. And this is very relevant for a client I'm working with at the moment, the ability to achieve that. Innovation and outside the square thinking that found ways to achieve outcomes not otherwise possible. Yeah. Fixing complex problems. Okay, now the value add service, which is probably getting into more of what we call the attitude, sort of another level of value. Listen to the client needs, issues, and goals before jumping to action. That's really important, as you know from personal experience. They say people want to be communicated with, not sold to. We like to be listened to, right? And that builds a lot of trust. Advice given on how to use your products to best advantage, save time or money, or make life easier. Very valuable. Fitted your products or services into the client's world on their terms instead of making them fit into yours. Sound familiar? Worked in collaboration versus dictating. Went above and beyond to deliver what the client needed, even in difficult circumstances. And, solving problems in these sort of situations, relieving stress can be hugely appreciated. Oops, sorry. Scary vulnerabilities, pains, and problems. Benefits to their business or to their broader life. And like we were saying before, bottom line figures if possible, such as percentage production increase, labour hours reduced, dollars saved, etc. Responsibility to acknowledge and fix mistakes. No one's perfect. With good responsiveness to complaints and without passing blame to others. That certainly builds a lot of trust when we're honest like that. And up front, even with mistakes and shortcomings, as long as it doesn't show too much on our core competence or attitude. An ongoing trust relationship, not just a short-term fly-by-night transaction. And sometimes that can even lead to friendships. That's something that when I've some of my clients, when I found out that they had become friends with their clients, I thought that's gold. That really shows something. Not every client, of course, but if that happens, it shows a friendliness and a personableness. Producing the stories. Okay, we want to record the interviews either as testimonials in short form or case studies in longer form. Write up in the client's own words Now that has a lot more impact and drama than a lot of case studies are written in the company's language, their narrative with a couple of comments by the client. But if the whole thing is written by the client, it's third-party endorsement, and when people come to your website or any sort of marketing material, they'd rather hear what your clients have to say, third-party, than what you're saying. Again, we don't want to, it's not about blowing your own trumpet. Major on the bits showing the client issues, excuse me, and the company gold that relates to those issues. Send the draft to the client. They make any changes and any adjustments before they approve. Titles are always good because people can get a quick idea of the message, the meaty bits, the juicy bits for attention. And there's some examples here. This was probably the best one I ever got. Admin effort. Oh, this is for a fruit grower who had a database system. My client provided a database, very user-friendly database system to help him with his operations. Admin effort down 80%, productivity up 33%, and suddenly at the industry leading edge. It's pretty compelling. That was a very strong case study. Further down, this was another client who did legal documents, terms of trade, terms of service, and all that stuff to protect companies in case of clients going bust or defaulting, not paying, all that sort of stuff. Peace of mind, being right and tight. This was the end client's language. And that's always a good thing, is to pick up on their language, which may be quite different to your language, the way you talk about it. But if you're wanting to connect with other similar people, use the right language. Complete confidence and watertight protection. So there you can see the objective benefits and also the emotional ones. Okay, the second story. This is my story from a few years ago. It was my best story, really. An engineering company that solved industrial noise problems for air conditioning systems installation and industrial equipment that received 20 times more inquiries off their website. And we're going to get into how that worked for them and how that can work for you. So I interviewed a few of their valued clients from different target market sectors. Found out about their experiences, what they valued most about the company in terms of those things we talked about earlier, and the benefits that kept them coming back, which again, like I said, some of them could have been right under the nose of the company. And something that was important here is the value that comes from the service. The products, I dealt with one company where I was interviewing, and the client said, asked, well, how do the products, stack up in the market? They said, they do the job, average job, average cost, they, good quality, but it wasn't that stood the company out. It was the value-added service provided, advice, and those things we were talking about. So, what transpired was the great end-to-end service they provided, taking a global view to provide resourceful, cost-efficient solutions backed with helpful advice, not just products. Some really interesting stories emerged of saving the client's bacon, avoiding all sorts of trouble with delays, expensive rework, council compliance, and hefty contract penalties. These are big, really big issues for the end clients. The company had clearly learned a lot of lessons over the years and developed expertise they took for granted, assuming it was obvious to others, but wasn't. And actually, a comment I was going to say before, with that advice on how to do things better, avoiding rework, that was even at the cost of their sales. They sold less kit because they showed the clients how to do it more efficiently. I mean, you can imagine the goodwill and the trust that earned for them. These stories were a powerful proof of the value the company offered. when written up in the client's words, they were like word of mouth referrals, the ultimate marketing fuel. So as we know, word of mouth referrals are still the ultimate really with marketing in this day and age of technology, but they only go so far. People only talk to so many other people. But putting these on your website, opens it right up, broadcasts it to a much wider audience. Yeah, so in this case, what we did built a lot of trust and interest. When the website was rewritten to touch the hot issues, along with search optimization and a fresh design, there was a sudden boom in quality leads, as we were saying before. It was 20 to 25 times, which is massive. There's the homepage. This website, it's about 10 years old. It's still going, as far as I know. I think the company's been taken over by somebody else, but I guess it's working, so they've left it. So we're going to delve into the elements on that homepage and get a rough idea there. Okay, first thing, what the company does in a nutshell, so visitors can quickly see they're on the right page for what they're looking for. Now, when people come to your website, there's 3 questions they ask. The first one is, am I on the right page for what I'm looking for? Is this relevant, this product or service, to what I've been searching for? Second is, what's in it for me? Why should I buy from you? And the third thing is, who are you anyway? And that's getting right into the trust and the credentials and the attitude of the rest of it. So, okay, in this case, if it's noisy, we can fix it. Very easy to understand. We solve commercial and industrial noise problems. Very clear. A lot of websites sometimes can have maybe a lot of persuasive words, but they're not always very clear and upfront about what they do. And because they've been immersed in what they're doing for so long, they can take that for granted. But for newcomers, you've got to spell it out very simply, clearly. Key benefits to clients, touching their common needs, fears, pain points, and questions. So the first one there, finding the lowest cost options for you, not over-engineering, by thinking outside the square for acoustic noise reduction. So that was a common issue in this industry. Things, simplistic formulas and methods, processes being used, which can result in over-engineering. But a bit of smart thinking, looking into the client situation, they could, make it simpler and easier. Now, I've underlined that bit there in the red, acoustic noise reduction. That's an example of a keyword phrase, Google keyword optimization. That was one of the key things that people search for, and that's just blended into the paragraph there. That's just one example. And just avoiding the temptation to oversaturate your page with keywords. It's a whole other subject, which I'm sure is covered in Anamari and some of the other talks. But just to mention the basics of optimization, they've never changed. It can get very scientific, very complex, but in terms of having quality content that's relevant, some good relevant keywords, and then quality links, relevant links coming to your website. Those things have never changed. You do those things, you can't lose. Making it work right first time, saving you the stress of expensive rework and penalties, especially when you're up against tight project deadlines. Yep. And enabling you to meet all legal obligations, offering you all the support you need with local councils. Concise summary of their service features. Just to summarise, you've probably heard about features and benefits. Features are just the factual, what your product does and what you do. The benefits are the results that the client changes their life. It's something they're looking for, but you still got to talk about your features. So on the bottom left there, acoustic design, a feature of interest there is 3D modelling. That was a lot of people did just 2-dimensional modelling, which showed things to a limited degree, but the 3D modelling showed things to another level and showed any clashes and things like that, things that weren't quite right. So that was a distinctive for them. Okay, reaching out to specific target client types, touching their unique interests and concerns in their own terms. You can have a whole page for each of these different target market clients, or you can put them in chunks on one page. In this case, we've got tabs. So the contractors, HVAC, that's heating, ventilating, air conditioning. When your installation needs to perform on spec, on time, and on budget, I mean, that's what they all want. We can take the headache out of the noise problem, leaving you to focus on your core work. And I mean, that's what everybody wants to do, right? They want to focus on what they're good at, what they do. They don't want to be hassles with all these other areas. They want somebody else to take care of it. So we can create a noise control solution guaranteed to comply with your project spec and legal requirements. With expert knowledge, looking at the bigger picture. That's another way of saying, before we said taking the global view. So it's reinforcing that distinctive benefit or quality without repeating the same words. Not just pricing to spec, which is common in the industry, but more intelligent. We'll find the most cost-effective systems possible without overkill, giving you the best value for money so you don't lose your hard-earned profit margin, which is what people want. Okay, this one's addressing architects, totally different interests, totally different world, helping you create buildings with architectural finesse while performing acoustically to requirements. Again, they just want to create great looking buildings, distinctive buildings, and these guys will take care of all that other stuff. Yep, you can read that a bit there if you like. They do custom doors, windows, and louvers that look normal, but they've got built-in noise reduction. Yeah. And then finally, bite-sized snippets of real-world client experiences showing the standout benefits offered. So this was a little juicy bit from one of the clients, and this will hit the key issues here and get people's attention. This was on a slideshow type thing. You can have linking back to your main testimonials page where they can read the details. As I said, you can see the other Q&A we did on how to build trust to win business, which goes into the research on trustworthiness and why people trust. Again, really important in these days of recession. Trust relationships are the things that are going to stand. Just to tell you about my free offer, free website assessment, or any other marketing material you want me to look at, brochures or maybe even social media, and I can have a look and see possibilities for improvement on capturing that the hidden gold, the value, and communicating that more effectively. All right, it's Q&A time. If you need to clarify anything I've said or want to talk about examples, and however you want to handle it, Anamari.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, David. This has been a great session. Please drop your comments or questions into the chat. I am looking across all the platforms. I can see you guys sitting out there. Please ask any questions that you have now. Just a thank you so much from Supta over on LinkedIn. That was a question here, just joined. So if I build a website, a business website for my real estate business, and at first it is kind of crappy, and later on I make an update to it, does that help or not with the old clients?
I think it will certainly improve it. If they see your new website, and I think people know that businesses are evolving. If you have a relationship with those clients, the website is often the first port of call where they see you, where they form first impressions, and that's why your website is so important for first impressions. Just like if you're meeting somebody, you dress up first time, and if you get to know they get to know the quality of your work, who you are. The other stuff is less important. So this is really just it's a portal into the value that you have and you offer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Look, everybody needs to continually update their websites. I mean, that's super important to be up to date and relevant. And also, a website never gets to a completed stage, does it, David? It's always evolving as you get to know your customers and you get that feedback from them. It's really important to continue to move with the times and stay up to date. So another kind of comment here. I'd love you to take a look at our website and give us some feedback. Great, Dion, just go ahead and message David. David, do you want to drop your email in the chat? That would be great.
Yeah, sure. So
I can
David,
do that actually. I've got it. I'll do that for you because we've got another question here, and I'll drop that email across all channels if you like. Question here: how to get identity? How to identify my value and clients testimonials if I'm just setting up a new company? Great question.
yeah, very relevant. Yeah, so that first stage is important to, I mean, even sometimes you can do jobs for cheap or even free to get some good cases, some good clients, some very happy clients, and then interview them and get the testimonials from them. You just have to go through that phase, really. There's no way of avoiding that, and you accumulate them and develop them over time.
Right. And you gave some techniques, I think, in the last one as well on how to do that, didn't you?
Yes, on how to, the interview and what to look for and how to draw that out. And, I mean, there's, just in terms of the trust thing, we talked about this in the last Q&A, but, testimonials or case studies aren't the only thing. There's other aspects that build trust, such as a friendly persona, photos up front, that signs of genuineness, signs that you care about your clients and their interests. If it's authentic, that all helps to build trust. So, you don't have to have testimonials on day one, but they're valuable to add, and they give you that base of market intelligence, as we were talking about too, which you can use to enrich your marketing and in terms of your finding your right relevant message.
And once you build that relationship, you can kind of ask for some of those things, can't you? You can just kind of go to them once you've built that relationship and say, hey, look, I'd love some feedback on your experience with our product or your experience with my services. And people are often really happy to give that. If you make it really easy for them to do that, maybe automating some of that stuff after you've built that relationship. We'd love to get your feedback. Here's a quick survey, or drop your comment in here. Really, and make it easy for people to give you feedback, I would say is a great tip.
Yeah, so it's a little bit ironic, Anamari. Sometimes it can be harder to get people to do a simple Google review because they have to do it right. Whereas when you chat to them and talk to them, you're doing it and they're just going for the ride. And they're often, I find, some of my clients are very happy, very grateful for the service, and they're very happy they know they're doing a favor. It's a favor. Just be upfront about that to the company. It's helping their company, and they feel good about giving something back, helping the company with their marketing. So if you've got the goodwill there, it's very natural.
Yeah, definitely find that people are often a little bit nervous to ask for that kind of help or to do a favor, but like everybody loves to give a favor, I mean, most of the time people are quite happy to do you a favor. So don't be afraid to ask for those things. Now, I'm just going to double check some of our other platforms and make sure I haven't missed anybody's questions. And I just have to reload them. I apologize. We're going to be doing, just while I get that all set up, we're going to be doing a session on Thursday. It's a little bit of a different session that is on how AI is going to shape the future. It's going to be a webinar, not a workshop. There's going to be 5 panelists. It's with some really important people around. I won't name all of them, but please join us for that. You can join us on social media as well for that one this Thursday. I want to thank you, David, for joining us here once again on Digital Boost and giving us some really good insight and value from your expertise regarding building trust and capitalizing on all the great gold nuggets that we have in our business and making sure that we are putting those out there so we can expand our customer reach. So thank you, David. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, Anamari, and thanks for everybody for attending.
Yeah, have a wonderful day, everyone, and we'll see you on Thursday here on Zoom or on social media. Don't miss out on that panel. It's going to be really interesting, how AI is shaping the world, the future, and